Coming up on CU Sports Mag, it's women's basketball, getting ready for the tourney.
And a little student-run club baseball for you.
Don't forget that lacrosse, all up next on Sports Mag.
Hello and welcome to Sports Mag. I'm Alex Hessman alongside Kevin Rash.
Thank you very much. March Madness is in the air, and is that Syracuse-UConn game still going on right now?
Was last I checked. I have not looked though. It's been about 20 minutes. It was still going on.
But real quick, we got women's basketball versus Kansas State. Number 21 Kansas State. We should get to those highlights right now. A potential matchup of the Big 12 tournament coming up. And here we go, away with the highlights. See you getting pumped up right now, and it's Shali Lenning. You'll hear more from her too right there. Buffs looking to get the momentum going before the Big 12 tournament, like I said before. And here's Bianca Smith, a quiet night after this too, only 5 points in the night. And then KSU looking to kick things up a notch also. Lenning again with the drive and the dish to Jelana Childs for two right there. Lenning, a big night. I'll get more on her stats in just a moment. And then Butt Fresley with a steal, driving all the way down coast to coast for two in the lay-in. And then Fresley coming up a little bit later again. First it's Spears to Richards. And then a charge foul right there. No good. Basket doesn't count, but CU still trying, keeping it close against number 21 ranked Kansas State Wildcats. And then there's the double team. Hannah Skildum and Alyssa Fresley with the steal and the lay-in. CU, like I said, keeping it close, 37 apiece at halftime. And then Brittany Spears would take over, 18 points on the night and two right here. She's a superstar. She'll be back next year for the Buffs. And, Chip, he's liking it. He's got the football jersey on there. I don't know what's up with that. I don't know, but Shali Lenning again, driving, dishing. That is Marley Gibson for the J. KSU trying to pull away late, but Brittany Spears would have none of that from Kelly Jo. Sick baseline spin move off the glass and squishes it in like that. That is nasty. But basically, the show stopper, Shali Lenning, 16 points, 12 assists, 11 boards. That's a triple-double, folks, and that is big-time numbers for Lenning. And then once again here, the backdoor cut right past Fresley, up and in off the glass, and then the icing on the cake and the big-time dagger is Lenning driving, stopping, and then passing it off to Hari Kincaid for three. Game, set, match, KSU. Wow, what a tough break for the Buffs, winning 71-61 as you take a look here at the score from right there. Marley Gibson, 21, like I said, and Kara Richards had 19. But coming up right now, we have McConnell Miller with the look back at the season.
If you reflect on this season and reflect on this game, I think it's typical of us. It's, we've had some great moments and then we've had some not so great moments. I think the difference in the game is Shali Lenning. I think 12 assists is exceptional. She finds a way, and when she comes out with a triple-double like that, I mean that's hard. That's hard to combat when she's got the ball in her hands for 20 seconds of a possession. They're a great team, and we needed to play better.
The women's basketball season has come to an end at the hands of Kansas State in the Big 12 tournament. The 12th-seeded Buffs faced up against the 5th-ranked Wildcats on Wednesday. Sophomore Brittany Spears scored 23 points, while senior Kara Richards had 22. On a positive note, Brittany Spears made CU history by becoming the 22nd player to reach 1,000 points. Spears is the second quickest player to reach this milestone. CU looks forward to the offseason to make improvements and come back even stronger next year. We here at Sports Mag would like to extend our congratulations to three special ladies from the women's basketball team. Kara Richards, Brittany Spears, and Alyssa Fresley have all earned Big 12 honors for their efforts this past season. Spears has been named to the 2009 All-Big 12 Conference second team, while senior Kara Richards received an honorable mention. Meanwhile, freshman guard Alyssa Fresley earned all-rookie team accolades by vote of league coaches. Fresley is the second CU player to be named to the Big 12 All-Rookie team in the 4-year history of the award, following Spears' All-Rookie honor last season.
The men's basketball team was unable to finish their regular season on a winning note by losing to Kansas State last Saturday afternoon. Colorado led 41-38 at halftime after shooting a season-best 73% from the field. The young team also scored the most first-half points against any Big 12 opponent this season. However, the Wildcats came storming back in the second half, led by guard Dennis Clemente, and handed the Buffs their 21st loss of the season. Ouch, 76-74. Super soft Corey Higgins continued to shine for the team, scoring 22 in the game and has averaged 23 over his last 3 games. Colorado men's basketball season ended in frustrating fashion this past Tuesday afternoon as the Buffs fell to the number 5 seed Texas Longhorns 67-56 in the opening round of the Big 12 tournament. Dwight Thorne led the Buffs with 15 points and 5 boards, and Levi Knutson chipped in 11 and also had 6 rebounds. The Buffs' loss was sort of a microcosm of the rest of their 08-09 season, but kept the game close, although they were too undersized, too young, and too inexperienced to keep up with the Big Texas team. And in the waning moments of the game, CU lost its fair share of close games, but they have a lot to learn as they finish the season 9-22 overall.
Let's face it, the Buffs men's basketball team has had a disappointing year, but there was one shining light. Corey Higgins was named to the All-Big 12 third team. The sophomore guard out of Danville, California, led the Buffs in pretty much every category worth counting. He averaged 17.8 points per game and 5.5 rebounds. Higgins will be back next year to lead the Buffs on the 2009-2010 campaign.
Coming up next, we got a little double team with the Davids, David Starcer and David LaRose. Take a look, guys.
Hi and welcome to Double Team. I'm David Starcer alongside David LaRose. We're here to talk college hoops action this week. First off, we're talking a little bit about the Big 12 tournament. CU, of course, as the 12th seed in the tournament, trying to replicate what they did last year, winning as a 12 seed. Just couldn't do it this year, lost to a tough Texas team.
Yeah, like you said, Colorado came in the tournament last year, ranked as a 12th seed, upset number 5 Baylor. No one expected it, but this year they just didn't have enough to beat Texas. Texas was too big for us down low. We got muscled around and we got beat up.
Dexter Pittman played like a beast against us. Like I said, absolutely just tore us up with double-digit points and rebounds. Which is kind of funny because when they came here to Boulder, we actually gave him a game, took him to overtime. Kind of surprising that, like I said, that we didn't kind of put up as good a fight this time around. But
yeah, Blake Griffin from Oklahoma. He perennial Player of the Year candidate. He had 18 and 19 and. They just got upset by Oklahoma State, though.
Tough game. Blake Griffin played like Blake Griffin.
Right.
And it kind of goes to show you, like I said, with Oklahoma State, Baylor, K-State, these other teams from the Big 12 playing well, that the conference as a whole might make some noise in the tournament. What do you think?
Right. At the beginning of the year, we weren't looked at, or the Big 12 wasn't looked at as being as strong as it was last year, with Kansas losing all 5 of its seniors from a national championship team. But I feel like this conference tournament is kind of showing the depth that we have with Baylor and Oklahoma State upsetting the big dogs and shows what kind of teams the Big 12 is playing with.
Definitely. Only other thing I want to talk about, of course, was maybe not so much a team performance as an individual player's performance. Mike Singletary, not to be confused with Mike Singletary, former Chicago linebacker, now 49er head coach, but he's actually a guard from Texas Tech. Dropped 43 points in his game against Texas A&M, and not only that, but he scored 29 of them in a row. 29 in a row.
29 straight points. Who would have thought? His previous career high was 25. And not only that, he comes off the bench. He doesn't even start.
How does
that even
happen?
Now,
one last thing here before we send it over to the break is who do you like to win this thing now that KU and OU are done?
I'm looking at Missouri. Missouri's top pick. I'm feeling Missouri will win it all. But we're going to send it back to the desk. After we come back later in the show, we're going to talk about the NCAA tournament.
Thanks a lot, Davids. But coming up after the break,
we are going to meet the new women's volleyball coach and also take a look at some lacrosse. Stick around.
One out of every 4 babies is not fully immunized. Your child could get a deadly disease. Get all your baby's shots before age 2. You gave them life. Protect it.
Sad. Looking back now, the things you go through in life. Scary. The worst thing about being on welfare was at Christmas time. I couldn't get my kids what they really wanted. I had to get a better life for my girls and myself. I got off welfare. I got a good job. Makes me the happiest mother in the world. I live for my girls.
We're not asking you to hire everyone on welfare, just one.
Pro Timing Day is just underway, and this past Monday, 10 CU football players put their skills on display for pro scouts in preparation for the NFL draft in April. Players participated in speed drills and their respective position drills. Brad Jones had the best day overall, running the 40-yard dash in 4.54 seconds, which would have been the fastest time by linebackers at the NFL Combine. While Jones may have had the best day overall, Patrick Williams stole the show impressively. He had the standing jump of 11 feet, which would have been the best by any receiver at the Combine and third best by any player regardless of his position.
This past Tuesday, number 12 ranked CU men's club lacrosse took on number 13 ranked Florida. The Buffs, coming off a strong 3-game winning streak, faced a determined Florida Gator team coming off a hard loss against BYU. The Buffs couldn't get anything started as they were down going into halftime 5-3. When the second half arrived, it was more the same as Florida cruised by the Buffs 12-4. The Buffs need to shake off their loss and focus on their next 2 road games against number 1 ranked Michigan and number 23 Michigan State.
Coming up right now, though, we have Liz Kritza being interviewed in the studio by Russell Cunningham. Take it away, Russell.
Thanks, guys. We're here with Coach Liz Krista. Coach, thanks for coming. So what made you become a head volleyball coach?
Absolutely love the game. I think it's one of the truest team sports out there. It's been a very, very good thing for me, and I really look forward to continuing the trend of being able to teach young people how to cooperate and how to really master their skills and how to be self-disciplined, especially young women. So for me, being a player transitioning to coaching was a pretty easy thing. I was always one of those players that like to coach on the floor and kind of help the younger teammates around, and I'm kind of bossy too, so they kind of went hand in hand with that.
What are your goals as head coach of the University of Colorado?
So, my goal initially is to build on the success. This has been a very successful program in the past. There's a long history, strong tradition, and my predecessor, PEIU, has left the program in a good position for me to continue to build on his past successes, and I'm looking forward to it. I think we've got a good core group of players here that understand the importance of representing the university well and understand how to compete, and we're looking to add into that group and then start really ticking away at climbing that ladder to the top of the Big 12. And if you're at the top of the Big 12 in volleyball, you can compete for a national championship. So that's what we want to do here.
When you arrived here, Mike Bohn promised you new practice facilities. How will those facilities help improve the program?
From the very beginning of the discussions about, will I make this move to Colorado? Will I take on this program, this rebuilding task? The commitment from the university and the institution and the athletic department were huge. They were clear from the beginning. I think that Mike Bohn and his staff and the university as a whole understand that for an increased investment in the sport, you can gain huge rewards. And we have a practice facility that will be up to par with some of the best in the country to help us compete at a much higher level. Those are on task for us in the next couple seasons. So looking at the whole perspective of coming here, that was a huge part of it. I mean, the commitment from your administration and from your institution is huge when you look at making a coaching change and really taking a program to a new level. So I'm pleased with it. I've been clear about it from the very beginning, and I know it'll come to fruition here pretty soon.
How do you like your team? How is your team receiving you, and what do you expect out of your team?
What I told these players when I was actually interviewing is that they have to understand once I take this job, if I decide to do it, they're my players. And I will push them beyond anything that they've ever, experienced. I promised them, I said, girls, you're not going to like me all the time. You won't, because I will demand that they really pursue excellence in everything that they do, in practice, in their matches, in their schoolwork, and how they carry themselves, how they reach out to the community. They've responded incredibly well. We have a very, very strong group of young, successful student athletes that are looking to really make some noise, really make some improvements individually, and those will transfer to the team setting, and you'll see some major improvements. And it's very important that this group of players that I just inherited embrace the change, and they understand kind of the direction of the program, and they've done just that. So it's really laying the groundwork for everything we're adding on top, and they really understand the tradition and history, and they want more than anything to get to that spot, and I believe that they're willing to work for it. So we're in good shape.
That was Coach Liz Krista, and we'll toss it back to the desk. Thanks a lot.
In addition to Liz Kritza, the Colorado volleyball team has named 2 more assistant head coaches in Meg Hennikin and Tim Hogan. Also, Hennikin has joined the team after a successful 2 years with Tulane and is responsible for player development and development of student athletes. And also, Hogan is joining CU after the women's national team and contributed to the USA medal, winning the silver medal at the 2008 Summer Olympics. And Coach Kritza is hopeful that these 2 coaches will lead the Buffs into a strong volleyball season next year.
Spring is quickly approaching, and CU's winter sports are wrapping up their 2009 season. Which brings us to this week's trivia question. Which CU sports team was honored at the White House in 2006 by former President George W. Bush? We'll have the answer for you later in the show.
Well, I have no idea.
No idea? I have a guess, but I'll wait.
But we have March Madness, more March Madness coming up, and the Davids coming back to talk about the NCAA AA tournament.
Stick around.
Can you pass the salt, Dad? Salt is to pepper as gregarious is to...
Oh, no, not more SAT questions.
In ancient Rome, salt was a form of currency. True or false?
False?
True.
Son, can you locate sodium?
Or chloride?
There are tons of ways to help with your kids' learning. Find the really good ones on connectforkids.org.
You have 3.5 grams of salt and a 5-gram slug. What's the rate of shrivel?
In America, you are not required to offer food to the hungry or shelter to the homeless. There is no ordinance forcing you to visit the lonely. In fact, nowhere in the Constitution does it say you have to provide anything for anybody. Thank you for all you've given. Imagine what more could do.
Welcome back. Coming up once again, the Davids double team segment with NCAA tournament talk right now.
All right, well.
We're getting things ready, queued up in the back room, but they're talking about the March Madness big tournament coming up next April.
Who do you like?
I don't know. I got UNC, but we're good to go. Davids, take it away.
Hi, and welcome back to Double Team again. David Starch alongside David LaRose. Got done talking about Big 12 tournament. Now we're talking about the whole thing, big picture. 65-team tourney starting next week. First off, just want to talk about, the big dogs. You got UNC, Duke, UConn, Oklahoma, Kansas, all the typical contenders.
Right.
My personal favorite, my pick to win it is UConn, just because not only do they have the big man to be in the middle, but you guys like Price and Adrian on the outside who can knock it down. A great coach. Just kind of all-around good team. They're the best team I've seen so far this season. Who do you like?
Yeah, UConn's a solid pick. I'm going to go with UNC. They have pretty good depth. At the beginning of the year, it was looked at their strength, but as long as they play solid perimeter defense and good defense overall, and as long as Ty Lawson, is healthy and Hansbrough has a good tournament, I think they can win it all.
Definitely agree with you on that. Of course, every year everybody likes to look at those kind of mid-major conference teams. The guys like Gonzaga used to be, who kind of just sneak up on everybody. Maybe like a 12 seed who goes on to like the Sweet 16 or something. The team I like this year is Butler, 27-5 overall. Has beat both Xavier and Davidson, who was supposed to be the mid-major team that was going to make noise this year. Who do you like, one of these maybe teams that's going to sneak up on somebody?
Probably not many people have heard of this team, but I'm going with the Portland State Vikings from the Big Sky Conference. They went earlier in the year. They went on the road to Gonzaga, who's number 7, beat them by 7 points in Gonzaga, and I think that was an impressive win. And they won their conference tournament, and I think they can make a decent run in the tourney.
Definitely. Then, of course, you got, maybe these teams from the big conferences who everybody kind of forgets about, and maybe like a 5 seed or a 7 seed who kind of makes some noise. I know one team that we both like is Clemson.
Clemson, yes.
I like them because I think they're just super athletic. Every night you see them on sports, they're making a dunk or a block. Why do you like them?
I like them. Their full court trap. When their full court trap is effective, then they're a team to beat. You look earlier in the year, they played Duke. Full court trap was effective. Duke couldn't do anything about it. And they get mopped. They mopped Duke off the floor, a 30-point win.
Definitely. The only other team I wanted to bring up, of course, was Syracuse. Last night went to 6 overtimes against UConn to get the victory. And anytime you play in the Big East Conference, you're playing teams like Pitt, UConn, Louisville. You're going to be battle tested. You're going to be ready to go for the tournament.
Week in, week out, it's just you go on the road, you play them at home. Tough tournament. So
definitely. So we'll see what happens. Tune in. Watch the tourney starting next week. And that's all for us. I'll send it back to the desk.
We apologize for any of the technical difficulties, but in the meantime, the men's golf team rallied to shoot the second-best final score this past Tuesday afternoon, finished in a tie for 6th in the Louisiana Classics. Colorado was the highest-ranked and only top 50 team in the field, coming in at number 5 Golf Week rankings, and the Buffs were the tournament's defending champion. Senior Patrick Grady led the Buffs with his second third-place finish in as many tournaments, as he closed with a whopping 66 Tuesday on the strength of their 7 birdies and 1 bogey. The Buffs return to action in 2 weeks at the Oregon Invitational in Eugene, March 23rd through 24th.
3 outstanding senior athletes will represent the Buffs at the Indoor Track and Field Nationals in Texas this weekend. Jenny Behringer will be the only woman for the Buffs racing the 3,000-meter run. She will go into the meet with the fastest time of the year and is looking for her first All-American honor as a Buffalo. Kenyon Martin will make his debut, starting debut ranking 5th at Nationals in the 5,000-meter run. And lastly, currently the fastest Buff in the history of the 200-meter dash, Jeremy Dodson. He ranks 5th for Nationals this weekend, but with only 0.2 seconds behind the lead, this race will be a fight to the finish. The 2-day event will be an intense 20-hour competition with hundreds of athletes. Good luck to all of those participants that have qualified for Nationals.
Colorado this past Wednesday night, and the Buffs pulled out a 1-0 victory over the Bears with a 1-0 win from Kelly Menikoff about halfway through the first half. Coach Hempton was not at the game because he was with the U.S. national team. But the women's team was a little slow tempo during the game and had trouble finding some crosses and finding their open forwards in the offensive side of the ball. But the Buffs will look to fix this in time for their next game on April 4th against Regis University.
With CU Club Baseball in full swing, CU Sports Mag's David Starcer hit the diamond to interview some coaches and players.
What's that sound? That beautiful ping means baseball's back, and CU's club team is swinging for the fences once again. Co-captain Garrett Smith, a club baseball vet, says the competition has never been this tough locally.
We play in the Mid-America Conference. We play the teams like CSU, Northern Colorado, and UC Colorado Springs.
He still likes his team's chances, though.
We have a vast majority of players that come from junior college ball, and they've played at higher levels, so that helps bring everybody else up, and it's just a great combination of players.
New coach Tanner Smith has high hopes as well.
You know, pretty much just all baseball criteria. Try to run as much as possible as a program. You know, just all the X's and O's, you know, to be one of the top programs in the nation. That's the goal.
Spring means baseball's back in action from Little League teams all the way to the pros. With the Buffs, it's a little bit different, however, as they're just picking up where they left off during their fall campaign. However, when it comes to their so-called second season, this is the one that's for keeps.
The spring season is the money season, as our coach likes to call it. That's when the games count. Since we actually gave a fight up to CSU last year, it's definitely raised our expectations greatly. And we actually made it to regionals last year, so our goal is to make it to regionals again this year and then hopefully upset them and go to nationals.
12th ranked Buffs definitely have a lot on their plate. But they look poised and ready to take off for the upcoming season. David Starcer, CU Sports Mag.
Charlie got opinions on the upcoming football season from people both on and off campus.
Hi, I'm Joel Jolly with CU Sports Mag's Man on the Street. You know, it's never too early to think about football season. So we traveled around campus and went to Pearl Street to find out what people thought about the upcoming football season. What do you think the CU record will be this year? They got 12 games.
Well, I suspect it'll be like, it'll be 7-6.
I think they'll win at least 3.
This might be wishful thinking, but I'm hoping for a 500 season, 6-6.
If I were to tell you one of the Buffs is going to win the Heisman Trophy, who do you think that would be and why?
What is the Heisman Trophy?
Probably Drew Brees.
Cody Hawkins, because he's the quarterback and gets the most recognition.
For the second part of our interview, we decided to find out what people thought about key position battles. Would you rather have Rodney Stewart or Darryl Scott at running back?
Rodney Stewart.
Darryl Scott.
Darryl Scott.
As long as Rodney Stewart can prevent breaking his leg again, I'll go with him.
Would you rather have the current kicker, Eric Goodman, or the new recruit, Zach Grossnickel?
Grossnickel?
Yeah.
I like that name, Grossnickel, you know? I mean, it sounds like he could be a secretary of the Treasury at some point.
If I recall, Eric Goodman missed, a 22-yard field goal?
Anybody but Eric Goodman.
Would you rather have Cody Hawkins or Tyler Hansen at quarterback?
I think Tyler, because nepotism is a problem in this campus.
Cody Hawkins.
Tyler Hansen.
So it seems like people have high expectations for the Buffs, as always. We're going to keep up with the Buffs as they start their spring practice on March 31st. For CU Sports Mag, I'm Joel Jolly.
Thanks, Joel. After the break, we'll have that trivia answer for you. Stick around.
Remember all the gifts you've given your children over the years? The ones you thought they would cherish forever? Just think, if you had given your child as little as $25 a month in U.S. savings bonds over the last 18 years, he'd have over $10,000 right now. But you didn't, did you? Give your children a real head start in life. Give them U.S. savings bonds. U.S. savings bonds, the gift of a lifetime.
It isn't an order or a command. Protocol doesn't require it. The oath of enlistment doesn't refer to it. So why do sailors devote so much time to helping Americans in need? To instituting programs on their behalf? Because when you're in the Navy, you go wherever the battle is.
The Coors Event Center saw something this week that it hasn't seen in a long time. A win for the home team. The Monarch girls basketball team upset Highlands Ranch 78-63 on Wednesday night. Even though the Coyotes led by as many as 29 points in the third quarter, the game got exciting in the fourth. The Falcons went on a 32-10 run late in the game, but it was not enough to stave off Monarch. The win means that for the first time in 10 years, neither Highlands Ranch nor Thunder Ridge will be the Class 5A champions.
Now back to this week's trivia question. Well, just a little refresher. We asked which CU sports team was honored at the White House in 2006 by George W. Bush. And the answer, the CU ski team, should have known. They're the only one that wins any national titles around here anyway.
Yeah,
so,
right.
I mean, yeah. But coming up right now, we have some weather action.
That's right. Let's toss it over to Jenna Browder on the weather set.
Thanks, guys. Let's go ahead and take a look at the weather for this weekend. Taking a look at our national forecast, we don't have a lot going on this weekend. As you can see, there are going to be a few weather systems moving through Colorado, but not much. So let's go ahead and take a look at the temperatures more specifically. And as you can see, Colorado is in the blue, and so we're going to be in temperatures ranging anywhere from 30 degrees to 50 degrees. Let's take a look specifically, though, more at Boulder. And this weekend, we actually, for Friday, we have a chance for snow with a high of 41 degrees and a low of 27. And then for the rest of the weekend, we're going to have sunny skies and a few partly cloudy days, but the temperatures are going to remain in the 50s. They potentially could get down to the 30s, but the weekend should be relatively nice. And so for those of you that are interested in skiing and headed up to the mountains this weekend, several of the ski resorts are going to be getting a lot of snow this weekend. And Aspen is one of those with a base of 66 inches and a recent snowfall of 13 inches. And their low is going to be 17 degrees with a high of 40. So if you go up to that part of Colorado, make sure you dress warm. Also, they have a chance of snow. And another resort for this weekend is Crested Butte. They have a recent snowfall of 8 inches, a base snow of 48 to 66 inches. And just like Aspen, they are going to be down to 17 and potentially up to 40 this weekend with a chance of snow. Another resort closer to the Front Range is Keystone, and they have a recent snowfall of 6 inches and a base snow of 48 inches with a low of 17 and 38 as a high chance for snow. And then also our last resort for today is Eldora, and they're going to be the warmest. They have a recent snowfall of 4 inches and a base snow of 42 inches. That's going to be all for us for the weather this weekend, and I'm just going to go ahead and send it on back to the desk.
Thanks, Jenna. And this just in, Syracuse just beat Connecticut 312 to 310 in the 23rd.
No kidding.
Yeah, so there's something to keep an eye on.
But
I wanted to do something. Pitt, I believe, will win the national tournament. Mark it down. I like the Pitt Panthers.
I have no idea, actually. So anyway, thanks for watching. I've been Alex Hessman, Kevin Rash. Have a good weekend.